Hi everyone, it's Gothic Man here. So I thought I would do something that really doesn't get discussed enough, I think, but it is a really bad stereotyping on the Gothic subculture itself, and that is the gore culture. So if you don't know what the gore culture is, it's kind of people that have a deep appreciation and a love of horror and gore. So gore sort of being more best representation of this is horror movies that do have a lot of gore, being bloods, guts, killing and all that stuff. Gore usually is lumped in with the horror world and people that are obsessed with horror movies and the horror genre itself, but the gore culture also does get associated with the Gothic subculture. And I think this is where you get a lot of the parents that are unsure about the Gothic subculture and worry about their children. And some people love to have real life gore in their life, so being like drinking blood, which does not always happen, but does happen, blood vial necklaces, so actually having proper blood necklaces, also scarification, which is instead of tattooing yourself with ink, you are tattooing yourself with removing your skin. I'll insert a picture here. The dramatic photo effects with blood-covered photos of death and ghoul. I actually really appreciate this. I love death modeling art. So if you don't know what that is actually where people do photo shoots of death poses and different ways of how you would look if you were murdered or you died. And I will insert a few pictures of that here as well. To show you. But yeah, of course the gore does get lumped in with the Gothic subculture, and another bad stereotyping of gore is people that are into Satanist religions also get clumped into with blood and killing things and killing goats. I am sorry, Satanists, and I know your religion is about kindness. You, of course, get this really bad. It does get into our culture a bit, but my friend put it in a very perfect example of this, and I'm going to quote his comment to you because I think it just clumps up everything that needs to be said perfectly. So his quote is, "I think it's time to break out the old graveyard analogy again, which explains the differences in subcultures. This shows us that while numerous subcultures have a love of death, they do it in differently for different reasons. So a goth dances among a gravestone. A metalhead rages for the dead. An emo weeps for those who passed. A rivethead prefers to hang out in an abandoned factory next door. Some horror fans like gore, but not all. Some gore fans are goth, but not all. Some goths are gore fans, but not all. Just because someone is goth does not mean they must like every single aspect people tend to associate them with. I would say horror doesn't have to have gore to be effective too." So this is exactly the perfect example to explain it. Not everyone likes gore. Not every goth likes gore. not every goth person likes horror movies. Like, there is a lot that really love and appreciate horror movies, but some don't appreciate the gore horror. It just depends on you and your personal preference, because the Gothic subculture and Gothic horror, especially with literature and the artwork, it's sort of a romanticized version of horror. So it's an idea that death is sort of romantic, or there is a romantic aspect to death and the idea of it, not that people want to actually reenact death or cause harm to themselves. But yeah, this is sort of, gore does not always necessarily mean the Gothic subculture or the culture itself. So when you hear of people that love gore and are into gore, doesn't always necessarily mean they're goth. They might necessarily be more part of the gore culture and the gore appreciation. So I hope this explains somewhat of what happens to people. I'm not one of those goths that are into gore. I don't really like the idea of causing harm on myself. I love the look and colour of blood, but I don't even own one of those blood vial necklaces or any of those fake blood vials. I don't even own one, just because that's not my cup of tea. I'm more obsessed with the romantic idea of death rather than, the gory side of death. Thank you for watching my video. I'd love comments. I appreciate comments more than anything. So thank you for watching.